Hello and welcome to a quick video demonstration on how to utilise Kahoot for the PSU608 Digital and Technology Learning Assignment. So the homepage of Kahoot, so the free version gives us a couple of options on the left hand side first of all. So on the homepage we have just a couple of trending content, often for the premium packages which schools may be utilising for memberships if it's common practice in their classrooms to utilise this as a tool. On the Discover page, we have a marketplace of learning tools that we can use for math, science, general knowledge. This is geared more towards primary and secondary as a homepage, but you can obviously add in filters for what is required. So, for instance, we have Tour de France, landmarks and architecture, something like geography, football 101. We have options between wet play and also educational learning prompts there. It's not just simply a tool to use for knowledge recall. There are plenty of options here that can apply to any sort of subject in terms of recall, but also in terms of gauging kind of new knowledge, which we'll have a look at in a little bit in a small moment for what can be used there as well. As I say, there's a couple of premium features. There are bought packs for the must-play Kahoots. Obviously, there are some more play-oriented ones here, which could also be utilised in early years settings for provision. But there are premium packages for learning which can be purchased, specifically tailored for maths, English core subjects and foundation subjects. Now our library is where we have any sort of drafts saved for packages we might have purchased or anything that we've created ourselves. Report is our assessment homepage, where all the information will be stored from our created Kahoots for us to utilise for formative assessment opportunity. Groups, more so a teacher-to-teacher kind of utilization there. Language learning is also implemented into the tool. So with our increase in EAL children in the classrooms, obviously could be a great tool, but also for our foundation subject for learning a foreign language as the children progress through primary school in the later key stages, also a great tool for word identification. Kahootopia is an alternative piece of provision on the app, which is more of a class-based progression system. This is kind of like an incentive program that's set up for your class specifically to kind of look at goals that people are achieving. It's a progression system as a class rather than our individualised quizzes that we'd go for with our in-lesson provision. So this could be something that could accompany a unit of work potentially to go over throughout that unit and kind of circle back to towards the end and see what progress has been made. Now, in terms of actually creating the Kahoot, we have our selections up here. So for a standard membership for free, we can go for just the standard Kahoot option. We can PDF or URL extract, so we can use a specific link that we would like it to generate a quiz for us for. We can also go blank canvas from scratch and kind of do what we like in terms of customization. So we'd drag and drop and insert media into files here. If you go in here, you also get a free option just of a background image. This is kind of just going to be generating images for the background. If we were doing, say, a geography quiz, we might want a relatable image in the background for the question that we set. Now, for question types, the free version implements a quiz and true or false aspect. If we wanted to go for something a little bit speedier without the 4 options, obviously you can also do just a 2-option quiz. The 3rd and 4th answer are completely optional, potentially reserved for later key stages, perhaps years 4, 5 and 6. A little bit more advanced knowledge there because we're drawing off of 4 potential answers instead of 2. A little bit less cognitive load for the children for the 2 answers. True or false obviously just sticks to that premise of 2 options for the children to go off of. Now the upgradable options give you sliders, puzzles and pin answers. There's a few more democratic options for the children to utilise as well. So we have polls and scales. A word cloud and brainstorm may be actually a great utilisation for the start of a unit. So when we're edging into a new unit, say post-Christmas, for one of our core subjects, we could go off of a brainstorm and word cloud for what the children may think will be involved in that unit of work, potentially drawing on recall from units that link to that prior from the year before. So when we're going for, say, let's say geography, if we were looking at our local area unit for somewhere in early key stage 2, they would have touched upon this in early key stage 1 throughout, and we can sort of base a recall task for a brainstorm there just to give them an idea of what they'd be looking at in greater depth as we progress through a unit like that. So those are our question types. We have timers. Obviously for inclusive practice, these are all really important features. So we have a timer that we can set for utilising the questions for a longer period of time. So if we're looking at more advanced quizzes with 4 options, we might want to play around with this a little bit. Obviously this is key stage dependent as well. Perhaps we just want to see how much time we have and whiz through. But if we're going to use this as an educative tool in depth, we do probably want to consider all the options that we have here. Points as well, another inclusive piece here. So we have a no points for a low stakes quiz, perhaps something that you could do for a beginning of unit test, for perhaps a little bit of recall from a prior unit as mentioned before, or perhaps just a really low stakes quiz for the beginning of a lesson for recall from the session before. Double points for double the rewards. Obviously we've got that intrinsic motivation there, and standard practice just for your standard reward amounts of points if we wanted to just go, the standard way of utilising the tool. And that pretty much covers everything there in terms of inserting media. Obviously we go from files for the images, we then add our own questions for the children to utilise there. So it is very teacher-led for the creation side, but we did touch upon the tools that can be used. We can purchase packs with premium. There are free packs to utilise for all the subjects as well. So a lot of the work is already done for us as practitioners throughout this website, but if it's something a little bit more custom tailored to your year group, this is where the Create from Scratch tool can come in handy.